Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man. He'll unpack wisdom and insights from a cross-section of top quality performers in business, media, sports, entertainment, and lifestyle to uncover key elements to help you live your best audacious life ever. So without further ado, here is the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. I'm Audley Stevenson, and this is the most audacious podcast on the web. Welcome to a special bonus edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. It's always a pleasure to be here as we continue our ongoing goal of helping you live your best audacious life ever. This special bonus edition comes to us on Father's Day. And I first off want to take this opportunity to congratulate the amazing fathers or those in a father figure role for the incredibly important job that you have in the lives of your children. This is your day to be celebrated, acknowledged, and appreciated for everything that you've done. And I certainly want all of you to enjoy this day because it is yours. I can say firsthand that I'm incredibly blessed for my children and thankful to have them. I take my role and job as a father very seriously. And in fact, although I just called it a job, I don't see it as that. It's a privilege. It's a privilege that I'm absolutely honored to hold. And I think this is a great day for us all just to celebrate. So this is your day. Now, today, this bonus episode comes to us not only because it's Father's Day, but there's another important reason why we're here today. It was exactly 5 years ago today on Father's Day, June 20th, 2016, that my dear friend Steph Nash was diagnosed with glioblastoma and given the grim prognosis of only a 12 to 18 month lifespan. Well, Steph has done well. She's outlasted that prediction, and she continues to fight. I'm so incredibly proud of her. Her journey has been phenomenal and inspiring on so many levels. And when you look at what she's diagnosed with glioblastoma, a form of brain cancer that has no cure, you recognize the impact of today. Now, regular listeners of the podcast would know that we've spent an incredible amount of time talking about this dreadful disease. Brain Cancer Canada's Director of Partnerships and Stakeholders, Mark Peters, was on with me back on episode 34, and he talked about the outstanding work of this not-for-profit organization, who happens to be the only national charity that funds brain cancer research, technology, and treatment. I was honored to have Steph back on the podcast with me on episode 15, and she shared her story from the time that she first learned she was diagnosed with glioblastoma all the way until now. And she shared her journey, the challenges, the struggles that she went through. In fact, let's go back and hear what Steph had to say at that time.
Well, I remember when everything happened, when everything came crashing down. It was Father's Day, 2016 of June. And I just remember going to get ready. I was trying to brush my hair and I couldn't manipulate the hand brush, as I told you before. And I didn't understand what was going on. And then I started brushing my eye and it was a metal brush. And I was like, this is not right. Something's wrong. And I went to try to walk and I couldn't take, going down the stairs, my bedroom stairs. I couldn't take one step. Couldn't do the regular step. I had to do one step at a time. And I called 911 and I was panicking. And I said, you need to come quick. I think I'm having a stroke. And I just remember the doctor coming in, asking my husband to have his friend leave. He was literally behind the curtain. And I just remember the doctor saying that we're transferring you by ambulance to Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto. You have a massive tumor in your brain and there's nothing we can do for you. And that's when I remember Dr. DaCosta, who is a well-known brain surgeon at Sunnybrook, telling me that they didn't even know if they would be able to do a biopsy. They were going to try, but the mass was, from what they could see when they did the MRI, it was so big. It was the size of an orange in my head, my little head. I just remember them saying they were going to try to do a biopsy to determine my life expectancy. And right then and there, I was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I don't care what you tell me. I'm not going anywhere.
It's been absolutely incredible to watch Steph's journey and see how far she's come. Like I said, she truly is an inspiration. And her husband, Rich Nash, joins me on the podcast today to provide some perspective from his viewpoint as a spouse who's turned into a caregiver seemingly overnight. I think his perspective is really great, and it's certainly fitting since we are acknowledging this very special day, this very important milestone that Steph has reached. So without any further ado, here's my conversation with Steph's husband, Rich Nash. Enjoy. Hey, it's the Audacious Living Podcast, and I'm glad to have my man Rich Nash in the house. Rich, what's going on, man?
Hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. All is well. I think this is going to be an official first that I've had a wife and husband.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Never, ever happened.
Really, eh?
First that we've done it, we interviewed one and interviewed the other. So this is a big deal, man.
Right.
I would almost call this historic.
We're trailblazers then.
That we are. So I'm really happy to have you here on the show, and thought it was really fitting, considering the conversation we had, with extensive conversation with Steph, very eye-opening, very revealing, and lots of learning and insights.
Right.
But your perspective on the matter as a spouse, as a partner, as a caregiver, as someone now whose role has almost changed, I think you offer some really, really good perspective. So maybe as a starting point, Rich, we can kind of go back to sort of the beginning when things were just evolving. Steph sort of broke down, that journey. I wonder if I can get your perspective on what that looks like.
So from the beginning of, so what do you mean the beginning when she was diagnosed?
Yeah. Well, so when she was first diagnosed.
Yeah.
You knew something was going on. Obviously, it wasn't her. What was that like? That journey?
Yeah. So obviously hindsight's 2020, right? So at the time when her kind of her behavior was changing, I didn't think anything of it really. Like I didn't think there was something medically wrong. I just thought, I don't know.
Right.
We've been together for, at that point, it'll be 21 years. So 16 years at that point. So I just thought, we're a married couple. Like maybe she's, whatever, man. Like we'll have a chat about it, whatever. And yeah, like I said, it was weird because Steph was a good driver. She had a few fender benders. So one of the first things that happened was she what did she do? Was it her car, her Mazda? I think she took the side mirror off the Mazda. Like she was going around a corner. She was doing some blood work or something for her nephrologist or something. And she was coming to the clinic and she took the side mirror off. And so I saw it, I was like, oh, didn't think anything of it. That's fine. And then another time she was at a drive-through Tim Hortons and she rear-ended a BMW. And did she tell me about that at the time? Like it was, you know what, man, those things, like I said, we look back and now we like, even up to this day, we're putting pieces together. But I think she told me about that, about the BMW, but again, didn't think anything of it. Some things were a bit different, but nothing like, oh my gosh, I was like, oh my, there's something seriously wrong. I was just thought, okay, whatever. So it wasn't until the night before. So the Saturday, I guess would have been the 19th of June. 19th of June. We're at a friend's house, and we go to this friend's house regularly. We go there pretty much every weekend, for food or whatever, hang out. And this time, I'm usually one that would fall asleep, and this time she fell asleep. Like, good time after. I'm like, we're sitting there, we're eating dinner, and then she's sitting down, she's sleeping. I'm like, wow, like Steph never sleeps. So, I, woke her up. We went home, and on the way home, she asked me to pull over, and she got sick. So I pulled over, and she got sick, and that was that. The next day was Father's Day. It was Father's Day. She went for a run in the morning, like she usually does, because she, ran a lot, right?
So
yeah. We went for a regular run. And I think she said that she during her run she felt sick and she got sick during her run. She came back. She made breakfast for me for Father's Day. My brother, his son, and my son Darius and myself, we went to the water park just near my house. My older son Xavier was home, so Steph was getting ready to go meet Sprox.
Yep.
To work on an album, and we're at the water park, and then we get there. Not even 5 minutes. I think Xavier was home. Xavier texted me or texted Xavier or texted Darius and said, "Mommy thinks she's having a stroke. Can you guys come home?" So we're like, "What?" It's 5-minute drive. I'd say a 5-minute drive.
Right.
But the drive felt like it was like forever, like stroke. Like, what the hell, man? Like, you know what I mean? So we get back home, and I think when we got here, was the ambulance here? They might have been here at the same time. They checked her out. They said, "Yeah, you don't seem to have signs of a stroke, but we're going to take you to Ajax Pickering Hospital just to check you out." So I said, "Cool." So did we get in the ambulance together? Like I said, man, sometimes I don't remember things, and sometimes things come there. There's certain things I remember, certain things like I have no idea. But so we went there. I drove it. I must have driven my car. I think I drove my car. Yeah, I did. I remember why now, because this makes sense. So I drove my car on the way to the hospital. I called my friend Silvio and my other friend Patricia, because Patricia lives in the neighborhood. So I just figured, I'm going to be waiting there for a bit. Just call someone to hang out.
Support.
I called them, said, meet us there. We're just chilling, going to the hospital. They're checking stuff out. Cool. We get there. Silvio met us there shortly afterwards, and then we're joking around. Me and Steph were like, "Yeah, we'll get home in time for Father's Day dinner or whatever." She goes and does a CT scan. We go to this kind of waiting room or whatever. They wheel her back, and then Silvio, Steph, and myself are waiting in the room. The doctor comes in and says, "Ask Silvio to leave. Would you mind leaving?" And then she says to Steph and myself, "You have a brain tumor. There is nothing we can do right now. We're going to send you to another hospital." Oh, wow, guy.
Bedside manner there.
Yeah. Pretty much like that. Wow. And I understand that, doctors can't,
sure,
be overly emotional, but it was pretty horrible the way she delivered it, because
right.
You know what I mean? Like, this rocked our world. Like, stuff was on. I remember I was standing up. Sylvia was out of the room. I think I either called for Silvio, or maybe my crying brought him back to the room, and I just because he's a shorter guy, so I was like, I had my full weight on the guy. I turn over, look at Steph. Steph's just lying in the stretcher, saying, "It's gonna be okay, Rich. It's gonna be okay." And I just jetted, man. I was bawling. I left the room. I went to I don't even remember where I went. I went to another empty room somewhere down the hall, and I just got on the floor and I called everybody I could think of: my mom, my brothers.
Wow.
Everybody. And there's this bawling. "Oh, Mom, Steph has a tumor or something. Like, I just remember going through my phone, man, and just calling people, calling mad people. And at that point, I think, did I know where we were going? I don't think they had told us yet. So they took us to Sunnybrook Hospital. So at this point, I was in the ambulance. So I remember. So I drove my car to Ajax Pickering, hopped in the ambulance, went to Sunnybrook, and Silvio followed. And sorry, I totally missed Patricia. My friend Patricia ended up showing up as well at some point. But I just, like I said, man. So Trish was there when we got the news. That's right. So after we got the news, Trish had arrived, because I remember she was there with her daughter, and it was weird because her daughter saw me crying and stuff, and like,
right.
Oh man, it was horrible, yeah. And then Trish went to the hospital, Silvio went to the hospital, and by the time we got there, oh man, there was dozens of people there at the hospital. It was insane. That ride to Sunnybrook Hospital,
wow,
man, that was a dreaded ride, man. That was a dreaded ride. So
even going back to when you got the news, and the fact that Steph is like, "It's gonna be all right," and here you are, you're broken down.
Oh yeah.
When you'd think it'd be the other way around, and support and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
You're just like, "Got you, we're good."
Steph, did Steph cry? Steph didn't even cry, I don't think. Steph was just, "Rich, it's gonna be okay." I was a mess, guy. I was a mess. Steph didn't even, I'm pretty sure if she had a tear, it might have been because of me crying. Like, she was just saying, "Oh no, it's gonna be." Now, mind you, it's not like she was like, but she was, I don't know if she was in shock, but she did not cry, and she was trying to support me more than anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then Sunnybrook, you get down there, and
Sunnybrook. Jeez, what happened, man? Oh, Sunnybrook. We get to Sunnybrook. Do we have to go to Emerge? No, we wouldn't have to go to Emerge. I don't remember where we went, man. If we went straight to the room or whatever, but I'm sure we had to do something before going upstairs, maybe check in or something. And then we're upstairs in the room, and there's just people, man, coming in and out. That's all I remember. I don't remember. I remember a few doctors coming in and saying, that we're going to do some tests. We're going to get you in for a MRI on the Monday. So this would be the Sunday, right? So this is the Sunday. So, doctors come in, we're going to get you in for an MRI, hopefully on the Monday. We don't know what type it is. I just don't remember the specifics of what they were saying, like what the size or anything like that. But yeah, man, it was crazy. I remember just pacing the halls a lot because there was a lot of people there.
Yep.
I remember when my mom finally came, she was like, it was like literally from a movie, man. Like I'm at one end of the hall, I see my mom way down the hall, and I'm just walking towards with my hands out, like crying, bawling my eyes out. Like it was insane, man. It was insane. Yeah.
So let's fast forward just a little bit, because I know you didn't get the diagnosis of glioblastoma right away, so you didn't know which tumor it was specifically.
No.
Did you know anything about it prior, or did you have any kind of indication what it was beforehand?
Before we got the diagnosis?
Did you know anything about glioblastoma prior?
Oh, like just regarding the stuff, or period? Like even knowing
in general, and period, yeah.
No, I think I had probably heard about it because Gord Downey was diagnosed prior to Steph.
Okay.
So I had heard about it, but I didn't know about it. You know what I mean? I just probably just heard it in passing. It never crossed my mind again. But I probably heard about it because of Gord Downey, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So when the diagnosis is officially confirmed, and I know it took a while, right, between the time you're at the hospital and even getting the testing and getting So once it's been confirmed, do you guys get a picture of what life would look like then at that point, or what did you know, or?
Now Steph probably gave you more details on this, because actually I don't remember. So we didn't meet the surgeon yet. We would have met the surgeon before. Yeah, we would have actually. We would have met the surgeon before the oncologist and those guys. That's right. So at some point, the surgeon came up and probably told us what kind it was.
Yep.
But still, that didn't click in. Like, I know my mom and my sister-in-law knew because they're nurses, so they knew. My sister-in-law said something like, "Oh my gosh, it's got to be the effing worst one. Like, out of all the ones it could be, it's got to be this one." Right. So I remember hearing that, and still, I think I was still in shock. And it wasn't until another point when the surgeon was actually talking to Steph about how much he could try to remove and whatnot, because he'd got the size, and this is where it is located, and if you do this much, it could impact this and that. So I remember being in the hospital again. And him talking to us, Amanda was there, and him saying that the life expectancy was like 9 to 12 months. And I think my knees gave out.
That's tough to listen to.
Yeah.
It's really tough to listen
to.
Like to be told that, your partner is done within a year.
9 to 12 months. And he said, yeah, that's the life expectancy. And Steph says something like, well, that's good because I got stuff to do. I got things, I'm not done yet. So.
Now that's Steph.
Yeah. But listen, man, I was, oh God. Oh man, that was insane, man. I was a mess. Because for many reasons why. So Steph being in the hospital would have been probably one of the first times, besides, because I've gone away, for the cottage with my boys, and Steph's gone, on my vacation with her. No, I don't think they went on vacation with her sister prior, but we had done things separately. You know what I mean? Sure. But this was the first time she was actually away from home, or we were separated due to something like this. That was out of our control. It was got like sleeping in the bed. Like it was just oh gosh. Oh man, I did not sleep well at all, man. Yeah.
So she has the surgery. It didn't fully. I remember the line that she said to me is that the procedure failed her. Right, that's the line that she gave me.
Yeah. She says that when she's referring to the chemo.
Right.
So that comes later. So they did the surgery, and it happened to be on the day of our well, he's now 19, but Darius's grade 8 graduation.
Gotcha.
So it's great. Darius's grade 8 grad. And prior to this, when this happened, we're like, okay, my sister-in-law will sub in. So my sister-in-law, Amanda, said that she'd come to the grads, right? So it's the day of the graduation. Oh, but prior to this, Steph had come home for a weekend because she was kept getting dropped on the surgery list. So she says, okay, you're gonna have it tomorrow. Donate anything, whatever. So she's ready to go. And then someone might come in with like a motorcycle injury or something. So she'd get trumped, right? So this happened a few times. And then we asked if she can come home because Steph was just a mess in the hospital because there's patients there that had the surgery, people that are pulling out their IVs and stuff. And she said, I don't want to see this before my surgery. Like, that's the last thing I want to see. So she came home, we chilled out, it was good. And then when she went back, and then, it was Darius's grad, and just as we're about to walk into the gymnasium, my mom calls and says she had the surgery, it went well, da 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 da. So that was literally just before the ceremony started. So that was good. Yeah, man. So she had the surgery. They removed like over 90%. Like I said, man, there's stuff that I'm missing that I didn't realize that I forget until I'm talking about it now, because I honestly don't remember. Obviously, after Darius's grad, I went back to the hospital.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I said, man, it was just some parts were a blur. I know we, bring her food. I'd chill out with her for hours. Her sister would come and do her hair. So that's the surgery. And then the discharge was the day of our older son's graduation from grade 12.
Okay.
So then Amanda comes again, and then yeah, that's right. Which was also her birthday.
Oh my goodness.
Which is also her birthday. So Father's Day, all these days are significant. Father's Day, Darius's grad, Xavier's grad, Steph's birthday. Yeah.
So all these days have bigger meaning than they ever had bigger than they had.
Yeah. Like the 20th, Father's Day is always like Father's Day, man, is it's okay now, but the first couple of years afterwards were, I don't know, we weren't sure if we're going to celebrate it. It was weird. Yeah.
So your role as a partner now changes, right, Rich? Like,
Mm-hmm.
You move from having a partner to someone that you've got to 100% support. Right?
Yeah.
Can you kind of paint a picture, illustrate what that, when you talk about that support, what that looks like and what you're required to do for yourself on a day-to-day?
Yeah. So it's different now because it's like 5 years in, right? And she, like I said, excuse me, this is not a linear journey. It's ups and downs, like a lot of ups and downs, like regularly ups and downs, like every day is up and down. And when I say down, I don't mean it's like, oh, we're on the dumps, but it's, you never know, man, like things happen. So when she first came home, she was still she was driving a lot. She was driving herself, places and whatnot. And she's still very independent. But she, there's some things that weren't the same. She was still very independent though, but things
what was different? What wasn't the same?
Well, what changed was when she had the seizure.
Right.
So October 15th. So she was on this she tells you about it, the dexamethasone. It's a steroid, and it helps with inflammation, especially on the surgery site, like, you know what I mean, in the brain. So she was on that, and she gained weight. She was gaining weight. And she had this hump in the back of her neck, so she couldn't even sleep, recline properly. So she literally had to sleep like sitting up, like on her couch. My mom bought her a lazy boy.
Yeah.
But so she gained this weight, and the doctors were concerned, like, listen, man, like, no, this isn't good. She was up to over 200 pounds easily, and she was only like 5'2".
Yeah.
So, so certain things, like, taking a bath and stuff like that, like, it's crazy, man. There's things. I had to pick her up out of the bathtub once, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're an independent person, and you're able to do all these things for, how old was she got diagnosed? I think she was 45, I'm going to say, for so long. And then all of a sudden you can't do things. You can't get out of the bathtub.
Right.
I'm like, Steph, I'll help you out. No. You know what I mean? Like, I had to get in the bathtub and pick her up out of the bathtub.
And for anyone that knows Steph, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is a stark contrast.
Yeah.
Who she is. Like, she's
guys, Steph would have stayed in the bathtub for the whole night, okay, if I didn't talk her out of it. No. Like, yeah, you're getting out of the bathtub. So I got in and got out of the bathtub. So on October 15th, so finally, they say, okay, let's get you off this dexamethasone. So they introduce a new med, which I cannot remember, a new different steroid, right? So she has a number of doctors at this point. So they introduce this new med and they decrease the other one. So it's basically like this, right? Until the new med is fully in the system and the other med is no longer. So on the 15th of October, I'm at work, and then I get a call or a text from Xavier. Yes, Xavier. That, mommy was getting up and she kind of fell. Like, she kind of lost her footing. But Auntie Minna, who is my sister-in-law, stepsister, Amanda, came over because she was working a different job and she was basically here every day. Anyway, so she comes over, helps, so she's okay. Amanda calls me, Rich, that's fine. I just, got her sat in the chair and she's fine. She's cool, whatever. Good. So I'm at work on my lunch break, and I'm like, something in me, man. Something said go home. So I drive home, Steph said, "What are you doing here?" I go, "I just, felt I do the rest of the day at home, whatever." Darius is I can't remember where Xavier went, but Darius is in the driveway playing basketball. I come into the house. Steph's on the couch. I say, what's up? We're chatting, whatever like that. And we're just talking about stuff because at this point we had met some people on social media who have glioblastoma as well. And we're just talking to them. And a number of them got diagnosed with glio because they had seizures. Right. So we're talking about, they go, "Yeah, man, all these people that we met got diagnosed because of seizures." Cool. I go outside, see Darius, do a couple shots, come back in. I go sit down. Steph's like this, "Rich, something's wrong." I go, "What?" She goes, "I think I'm having a seizure," something like that. I go, "Steph, I think you're having a seizure." And she's talking, but then all of a sudden, nothing, just starts shaking. I'm like, "Oh, wow." So I called 911. Yeah. I called Amanda again. Get Darius. Darius comes inside. I go, "Get a bag ready for mommy because we got to go to the hospital." So he gets the bag ready for his mom. Amanda shows up first, and yeah, for sure, man, she's having a seizure. Like I knew that, right? You could tell. She's still on the couch. Ambulance comes. She's talking. And then she just, no more talking. She just gets rigid. They chill her out a bit. They stabilize her, get her in the stretcher. We both go into the ambulance, and she kind of comes to again. So we're at Brock Street, in between Brock Street and Lake Ridge on Bailey Road. And Ajax Pickering is only like 10-minute drive, just down Bailey, west on Bailey. So we pull out. They're asking her questions, "What's your name? Stephanie Nash. What's your birthday? Yada, yada, yada. What's your husband's birthday?" She gets that wrong. So I'm sitting kind of in the back, and the attendant is tending to Steph, and there's a driver. So he's asking her questions, and he's looking to me to see if they're right. Yeah. I'm like, "Yep, that's right. And then she just starts going downhill. Our birthday, my birthday, the boy's birthday, their names, our address. And she, no, not answering things properly. And then they put the cherries on, and then we start boogieing to the hospital, man. Oh boy. We get there, and they take her out. I get out to register her. Amanda shows up. Man, I registered her, and I'm walking back to see her. She was strapped in the stretcher, but she was like this, and she was still like this. Right. Yo. Oh boy, Audley, man. I would never get that picture out of my mind. That picture and when she got diagnosed. There's certain things through this that I'll never get out of my mind. And that was the most scary thing I've ever seen, I think.
Right. Well, I can see it because like even there's feelings of helplessness. Mm-hmm. Like you can't be there to support.
Yeah.
You just gotta be a witness to it.
Yeah.
So I can see why that would be so powerful image in your mind.
Yeah. It was insane. And my sister-in-law, and then after that, I just remember. So it was. This part was cool. This was not cool, but this is a comfortable experience. It wasn't as traumatic as when she got diagnosed because the nurses and stuff were in there. So Amanda and I were allowed to be in there when they were tending to her. She was already out of the seizure, but she was just really tired because apparently when you have a seizure, it's like running a marathon apparently. And she had a seizure for a good while, right? So she was wearing this sundress that I wasn't too fond of. And the nurse is like, "Oh, I got to cut the dress." I go, "It's okay. I don't like it anyway." And he starts laughing. So they cut the dress and they get her out of it or whatever. And she's upstairs at some point. And at some point she says to me, "I heard what you said to the nurse about my dress," but she was out of it. Do you know what I'm saying? It was so funny. Oh, man. Oh, man. But those 5 days, she lost those 5 days. She doesn't remember those 5 days because she was I said coma. She had the seizure on the Monday and she was discharged on the Friday, but she doesn't remember anything between those days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've had to deal collectively as a family with a lot of kind of memory loss, right? Like there's lots of instances where her faculties aren't necessarily the same place that they, you've known them to be in terms of remembering and things of that nature. I'm sure that's been a bit challenging.
Yeah, her long-term memory is good. Her long-term memory is good. Her short-term memory sometimes is not that great.
So she remembers all the old Run DMC lyrics then.
Yeah, she remembers all her old stuff, all her hip-hop stuff from the 80s and 90s. Yeah. No, sure, her long-term memory might even be better, to tell you the truth. Yeah. But her short-term memory is sometimes it's impacted, and what happens is here's the problem. Here's what sucks is that she'll say something, right? And then she'll repeat it again later. And my problem was the thing I was doing wrong was saying, "Steph, you already said that." And when I say it that way,
she just feels like, oh my gosh, my memory, you know, I can't believe this. You know, I'm just not going to say anything. So I've changed the way I sometimes don't even say anything. If she repeats something over and over, I just, you know, I'll say, oh yeah, whatever. But, you know, sometimes, oh yeah, that's right. You did say that. Right? You know what I mean? But yeah, yeah. But that with the memory loss for her, I think it's obviously more frustrating for her.
Sure.
I could tell that she struggles with that sometimes.
For sure. No.
Yeah.
So what kind of support have you gotten to assist you in your new role? Because again, this has changed for you, Rich. Like this isn't what this isn't what you signed up for, so to speak.
No, yeah.
So what's been supportive to you?
So here's the thing too. So yeah, you know what? I would say that I did sign up for it. Did I know it was gonna come to fruition? No, I didn't know that. Because we literally have on our wedding rings, a deal is a deal. We got that engraved on our rings.
Okay.
We thought it'd be funny. Little did we know. But we did it. So you know, so when she was diagnosed, and like I said, so the thing that was very overwhelming was when she was diagnosed, a number of people from my work put together, you know, different kind of things like fundraising things. Someone that I worked with before did a little GoFundMe, and there's a lot of support, man, a lot of support, a lot of food. I didn't cook for months.
Wow.
For months, and we didn't have to pay for any of our commute to Sunnybrook. Like, we'd have to pay for our commute or for parking, because they raised money for gas and for a parking car. It was insane, man. There's a lot of food coming in. It got to the point where it was overwhelming. It got to the point where I told my friend Sandra that I almost wanted to ask people to stop. She was like the arranger of things, and I talked to her and I said, listen, man, maybe get
kindness is overwhelming.
Yeah, it was very overwhelming, because people were literally coming here almost every day with food and stuff and whatever's. Yeah, it was crazy. You know it was crazy, because I'm an open guy, or at least I thought I was. Like, I'll joke around and that sort of stuff, but this was something that was just there's so much to deal with, man. Yeah. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. But then I was like, you know what, let people help and, you know, do what they want to do.
Sure.
And honestly, sometimes, you know, there were times where I was like, people that I thought would step up and offer some type of whatever, didn't really. You know, and people that I never would expect things from were like, whoa, like, what's going on here? This person is still bringing food after like 8 months.
Wow.
Like, it's crazy. And I was very upset at a lot of people.
Really?
I was upset at a lot of people for not reaching out, or for not doing this, or for not saying, hey, how's Steph, or whatnot, and you know, sort of thing. And then it probably took I would say 4 years. Or I say last year I came to the realization that, you know, when these types of things happen, not everyone knows how to navigate around it, or what to say. Like, honestly,
that's a big one.
Like, it's very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, man.
That is a really, really, really big point. Like, a lot of people, it's like they're frozen. Like, do you show support? Do you not say nothing?
Yeah.
What do you do? And so a lot of people, it's more about just them not knowing how to respond than anything else.
Oh, I was salty, guy. I was bitter, man. I was like, yo, we've been friends. You know what I mean? I was very, but it took a while. It's true, because I know they all care. It's just, what do you say? Hey, how are things? Hey, you know what I mean? But a lot of people don't want to burden me, so you know what I mean? They don't, which I understand. But yeah, man, it's a lot of realizations, man.
What other realizations?
Oh gosh, I was thinking about this all day. I was like, oh, what's this guy gonna ask me? What other? Oh man, gosh. You know, so a couple of things. A couple of weeks ago. So here's a problem that I experienced. So when Steph was diagnosed, before Steph was diagnosed, I wouldn't even say it was a 50-50 marriage. We just did whatever. I do grocery shopping. She do grocery shopping. I'll cook dinner. She cook dinner. Blah, blah, blah. There's no, you do this, you do that sort of thing. So when this happened, but I'll tell you, there's a few things that Steph did. I would say, like, Steph did our banking, right? She paid online and all that stuff and whatnot. So when Steph got sick, there were some things that were just like, oh, wow, how do I do that? For instance, like online banking. I did not have online banking on my phone or my laptop or anything like that. You know what I mean? I'd go into the teller guy, here's my phone bill. You know what I mean? So my friend had to help me set that up online. That was the year Darius was starting university. Like, sorry. That was the year Xavier was starting university. So our plan was for me and for Steph and I to take this guy on the train downtown, show him the routes and all that stuff. So It was just crazy. So I took Xavier once. We did it one time, and it was only he He goes to Ryerson.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So it wasn't a big, but I had to show him so he knows how to get, to and from. So I did that, paying the tuition. Oh, it was crazy, man. I lost myself for a good while, a good while, because I was so regimented in stuff I had to do. I thought I had to get up by 8 a.m. and go grocery shopping. I did my grocery list and had to think stuff out. I do groceries, and I'd already be thinking about the next week's groceries. Everything was just, I had to do like this, or else I thought I would lose. There's the only thing I can control, really.
Well, because all of a sudden you're kind of managing everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's out of necessity because you had to. Right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I was in fight or flight for years, man. I would say, not right now. I would say, yeah. I think I still am.
But it's funny because I was about to ask you when did things level off and you start to get comfortable?
Well, jeez, oh man, level off. I think that I accept it now. I think I accept it. I don't like it, but I accept it for what it is. I know what it is, and the problem that I was experiencing was I was so busy thinking about the next day and what if, and I got to do grocery shopping next week. I got to do this for work. I got to, you know what I mean? It was insane that I wasn't in the present. I wasn't in the present, and I was missing out on a lot of stuff, man. I was missing out on a lot of stuff, like hanging out with Steph, because me and Steph before she got sick, we're at reggae concerts and hip hop stuff and movies, like literally, it was crazy. So then when she got sick, and I did my group at the Hearth Center, my cancer support group, a caregiver group, I got stuck in that caregiver mode. Caregiver. I even when around Steph, when we were talking around people, I'd even say, I'm a caregiver. I'm her caregiver. I was, I'm her husband. You know what I mean? I always referred to myself as her caregiver, and I got stuck in that mode. Oh yeah, it was crazy, guy. Wow. And it wasn't until I think we did a mediation, like a family kind of, not a counseling, it wasn't counseling, but a family kind of, let's get your stuff off your chest sort of thing. And Steph said that. I didn't realize that. Wow. And she said it again afterwards. She was like, oh wow, yeah, you just got stuck in that role.
Yeah. Well, but it's really natural too, because
at
the end of the day, that's what you are, right?
Yeah.
But I understand why that potentially could be a concern for her, because she doesn't, especially for someone who's so independent, doesn't want to be cared for in that fashion.
Yeah.
She wants to be on her own.
And I even had to rephrase that too. So I would say that this guy really walked back in the camera when I'm on a live Zoom.
Kids.
This guy really walked in my Zoom, guy. So where was I again? So I had to reword that. So I would say I provide care. I wouldn't say provide. I provide care. I'm not her caregiver. I provide care. I take care of her. That's what I do. I'm her husband. I take care of her because I'm her caregiver. You know what I mean? I'm not her caregiver. I'm not her caregiver. I'm her husband, and I take care of her. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that thinking kind of changed, because I was doing everything for her when she didn't even need me to. Like, it was, I know she must have wanted to freaking throw me off a cliff, guy. I'd literally call her, oh gosh, man, you should see the first time I went back to work. Yep. So she got diagnosed June. I was off for 4 months. I went back on my birthday. That's another significant day. I went back on my birthday.
All these milestones.
Yeah. It was crazy. I remember in the morning, man, I was crying. I was like, I don't want to go back to work. Should I go back to work? Should I go? Are you gonna be okay? And then, of course, as usual, Steph is reassuring me, don't worry, I'll be okay. I think the boys, Darius was in high school. Xavier was in university, but his schedule, right? So he's home sometimes and whatnot. So, I went to work, and I remember I was in the parking lot. I was just in the parking lot. I was just chilling for a bit in my car, waiting to go upstairs into my office. Like, oh gosh. Finally went upstairs, and it was my birthday, obviously, and like I said, and my coworkers did like a cake and stuff, which was good. It was a good day. It was a good first day back.
Sure.
But it was a tough day back. But yeah, it was man, it was kind of crazy. It was crazy.
You talked about the support group, the cancer support group, and Steph did share an article that you wrote where you were very candid and open in terms of the experience. And I think what really stood out to me was just the emotions that you touched on that you went through, right? Mm-hmm. And through that, and I think it's really important because to be able to talk about those things openly, mm-hmm. isn't something that's easy for people. Let's be honest.
From my experience, my experience as a black male growing up, you know, in a Caribbean family, and my family and my friends who are also, you know, from the islands or Caribbean, it's not something that's expressed openly very often, if at all. Like when you're feeling sad or upset, or you know what I mean, like anxious, that doesn't get talked about. So, you know, like I said, and I don't, this is, you know, no knock against my upbringing, but you know, my dad passed away when I was 11 years old. He committed suicide when he was 11. And I never really, you know, I cried and stuff, right? I cried and stuff, but I never really got out the feelings that I was feeling, like to talk to someone about it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Until never, actually, to be honest with you. I never have, I don't think. Yeah, I've never done that. So when Steph gets sick now, I'm like, you know, just crying, just rigid, not really talking about anything, right? Steph and my friend Trish kind of, you know, talked me into going to counseling, right? Me and Steph were going out, we were at Shoppers Drug Mart, and we're in the parking lot. She's like, "Oh, Rich, you gotta do something for yourself. You gotta go to talk to somebody. You have to." I go, "No, I don't want to." She's like, "Stop yelling at me." I go, "I'm not yelling. I'm just talking loud." You know what I mean? And then she left. And then my friend Trish calls me. I'm like, "Listen, man." I go. I can't remember the exact conversation, but after speaking to her and speaking to Steph, then I went to the Hearth Place in Oshawa, and man, that was the best. That was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. Is going to that group, man, because there's people there that you don't have to explain anything, because people know. Like, it's to explain it, it doesn't do it justice. It really doesn't. I can tell you what's going on. I can tell you how it is to, you know, to be going through this, but it doesn't do it justice until you're in it, man. It is insane. It is an experience that geez, because there's lessons to be learned every other day, like for real. Like, you literally, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that got to put that in the memory bank, put that in there. You know what I mean? So like, there's always something. So going there, being able to talk to people was great. But like, again, like I said, there was several men in my group. It was like a 6-week caregiver group. There were about myself, this guy, that guy, maybe about 4 males. And this younger guy and myself were the only ones that really talked a lot. And even in the other groups I've been involved with, there's never been a lot of males. Never mind black males. Like, at my group in at the Hearth, there haven't been any black males there.
Wow.
So yeah, man. And listen, I know there's a platform. There's men like myself, black or white or whatever, that need an outlet. Because listen, man, there's times when I feel like I'm the only one on the planet, and I can have my whole family here. And I just, there's like mornings or nights I'm like, wow. Like when I was, yeah, I feel
like no one really understands what you're doing.
Yeah. Like, but there was time when I was not sleeping, and my sleep is better now. But man, my sleep was impacted. My weight was impacted. I lost weight. I was never a huge guy anyway, but I was always muscular. But so if I lose weight, you can tell, right? But my eating is just, I was just a robot. And it's funny because my sons told me, my friend Gigi told me that I'd literally go and make food for everybody, or make whatever, right? Make dinner and whatnot. I'd sit down, and then I'd get up and just go like wash dishes or go and start vacuuming or something, where my dinner is right on the table. Like, I wouldn't sit down and eat my food. And they pointed this out to me, and I had to literally consciously think about sitting down and eating my food until it's finished, and then getting up and going. Yeah.
Well, there's a whole piece of this where you've got to take care of yourself still, right?
Like, oh, jeez.
I would imagine that is more of a conscious effort to give yourself the care, because you're managing everything now.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, when Steph and I met, Steph and I have been working out together since we met. We met when I was 24 and she was 26. And the thing that one of the things that bonded us was working out. Like, we used to go on dates to the gym, to Venice Gym in Scarborough. Like, we used to do that all the time. We've been to tons of gyms. So that was something that I had done before Steph got sick. And then I had just started yoga the year before, I think. Okay. I was just dabbling, whatever, messing around with it, whatnot. It was cool. So then I had to tap into these things, and hearing from the caregiver group, you know, self-care, your cup can't be half full, and that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? But the problem was balance, finding the balance, and being able to leave and not feel guilty. Right. I was invited to a wedding the year Steph got diagnosed, prior to her diagnosis. So when the wedding happened, Steph was already diagnosed. She had the surgery. And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm going to, give it up. She said, no, you got to go. It was in Ottawa. So I was going to stay for the weekend. So that was another tough decision, man, for me, not for Steph. Steph was like, yeah, go ahead, man. I was like, I don't know. Cause listen, man, not being close to home, if something, and that's where my mind would always go, what if, I'm in Ottawa, that's how many hours away, what if, oh, man. But that was one of the best weekends of that.
Right.
For sure.
Well, you certainly would need, like, you needed it, right?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was fun just to chill, man, and just, you know what I mean? I called her, of course, every couple of whatever, but still, it was good to go and just chill, man.
So I wanted to ask about, Rich, and get your perspective on the initial, so when they talk about life expectancy, right? They're telling you 9 to 12 months, you're thinking, oh my gosh, you know, a year, it could be less than a year. No, we're now 5 years later, you know? Is there more an appreciation for the moments, the days now, given sort of, you know, what you were told versus where you're
at? You know, and this is something else that I only realized like recently. Like there's been a lot of growth during the past 5 years, but this again is something that I realized recently. Like there is an appreciation because, like I said, when Steph was diagnosed, she said, "Nah, I'm going to stick around. I got to go to the kids' grads. I got to do this. I have a lot of stuff to do. I'm not finished yet." She said that. And back then when she said that, I thought, you know, she's just saying that to make me feel better or just maybe, but she said it and she knew it. She knew that. She knew that 5 years ago that she was going to be here now. I know it. I know she did. Like she said that. I think she said that, and my friend Trish said that. I knew how determined she was. Because she's done some things back in the day that, like, I'm like, how the heck? Like she finished a marathon with a torn Achilles. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. And then she gets home and she's all jacked up, guy. But that's the type of stuff. But after hearing that, I'm like, this person's not, she's a different person, man. She's literally, and I'm not just saying that because she's a different person. Like she has headaches sometimes that are like incapacitating. Like she's jacked up, guy. Like she had one last week and she is toast. I'm like, we might have to go to the hospital.
Right.
And she takes, you know, get a Tylenol, or she has this really strong pain med that we had from before that she has last case thing, right? So she took that, makes her groggy for like, you know, a good while. But then the next day she's up and she's going for a walk and she's working out like nothing happened. Yeah. So it does make you appreciate, man, because especially now with this pandemic too, like, yeah, man, we like, you know, we try to do what we can do, and for sure it does.
Well, yeah, and again, you know, you're especially when you're talking about a life expectancy, you know, that gets your attention, obviously, right? Yeah. It really makes you think and sort of ponder and really reflect on stuff. Now, Rich, one last thing I want to ask you, and I'm so appreciative of just how open you've been and sharing. And I think, like I said from the very beginning, I think your perspective is extremely important based on what you've had to deal with from your side of things. And so I wanted to ask you about, you know, what kind of things keep you going, or keep you moving, you know, in a positive direction. I know you're a happy guy. You're always smiling, always laughing. What kind of keeps you going? You're pulling everyone else now.
You know, so like I said, my dad committed suicide when he was 11, right? And my mom went through, you know, something very traumatic, right? As a parent, as a wife, you know what I mean? So she had to raise my all three of my brother, my youngest brother Mikey, and my middle brother Darren on her own. So she's been through some stuff, you know. So when this happened, I was like, I gotta. It's not even a matter of getting it together, but I said I have to set a good example for my boys. Like I have to, because I went through something, and I know, you know, had I done different things, had I maybe gone for counseling sooner or whatever, you know what I mean, reached out and spoken to people, who knows, maybe, not to say I turned out, in a negative way, but I think if I had addressed some stuff before with my dad, I'd be, you know what I mean, I'd be more open to feelings and emotions and stuff.
Right.
So I think that I have an obligation to set an example for my boys, you know what I mean, and it's just it's a journey, and I think this is what I have to do. And Steph, you know, keeps me going. If Steph has a headache that knocks her, you know, on her back, and she can get up the next day and go to the gym or go for a walk, then you know what? Then I got to do the same thing. You know what I mean? And just like I said, man, I think I have to do it. I have to do it. I have people that rely on me. I owe it to myself, I think. And whomever else can learn from this, you know, like I said, like if there are people out there that, like I said, when I joined the group and I was speaking to people that are going through similar experience, it helped me a lot. So if I can help other people, then, you know, so be it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the opportunity to share with others is also amazing, because you can impact other people through your own lessons. Have you had much opportunity to do that?
Much. I think so. But joining the caregiver group, I think so. I think we all help each other at the group. And that little piece I wrote for Cancer Canada, I think it was, Cancer Connect. It's funny because when I wrote that, I don't even know why I wrote it, to be honest with you. I think, what was I doing again? Was I just writing for fun, or did she ask me to? I think I joined Cancer Connection, and she may have asked me. That's right, because they profile somebody every month or something like that. So I was one of the newest members. So she asked me, and I just started writing words on the piece of paper and stuff. Or was I writing? No, I was typing words, just certain things. And then the whole story just came, and then I was just writing, and like I couldn't stop writing. I just kept writing it. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, it's a great piece. I read it. I loved it. I thought.
Yeah. Hopefully, thanks. I appreciate it.
The matter, your ability to tap into the emotional side of things and talking about it, because I agree with you. From the Caribbean culture, there isn't a whole lot of talk about your emotions and how things make you feel, right? Those things are oftentimes suppressed, and so even myself, I had to learn how to talk about the things that made me sad and happy too, right? But all of the pains, the joys, all of that, you have to learn how to talk.
Yeah, and I'm a social worker.
Right.
I've been in the helping field for my whole career, and I was like, I had to teach myself. It was a very eye-opening experience, man. Yeah. But Steph is funny because when you got married, I remember I was at the Pickering Town Center, and I was Christmas shopping, whatever, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go buy her an engagement ring. You know what I mean? It was something we never spoke about. It was just something that I was drawn to do. Something inside me said, yeah, man. So there's no question. Like, you know what I mean? I would do it again. But yeah, it's a lot of communication, man. You got to communicate, and sometimes things get. It's learning every day, man. It's learning every day. We can say, yeah, we got to communicate better, and we talk and stuff, but sometimes we don't want to say things because you don't want to hurt the other person. Like sometimes she doesn't tell me when she's having a really bad headache.
Right.
Because she knows I'll worry, right? And it's sometimes the cycle sometimes. And sometimes I won't tell her that I'm kind of exhausted or overwhelmed because she feels guilty. She says it all the time. She says, I feel like a burden. I feel like a burden. I would probably feel like a burden too. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. I said, Steph, if the boys and I have to tell you every day that you're not a burden, we'll tell you. Do you know what I mean? That's perfectly fine. You're not a burden, but I understand why she feels that way. But yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, man.
You're all in this together at the end of the day. I think that's what comes back.
Yeah, indeed.
Rich, man, look, I so much appreciate you doing this. I so much appreciate just hearing, and again, much of what we talked about, things I heard through Steph, and you always drop your lines, and we're always back and forth.
Man.
And whatever, and so the opportunity to get your perspective, I think, is important, and for our listeners to be able to hear some of the things that you go through, or have gone through, or still going through,
right?
Important, because there is the other side of that story, and I do think that there are things that people can take from your experiences that can help them, and that's real big.
You know, if anything, in look at me in closing, like it's one thing that I would encourage people to do that are going through something like this, where a spouse or partner or friend is terminally sick, because it's terminal, right? Terminally sick. Especially as a caregiver, spouse or partner, living together, because coming in and dropping in and helping someone and then leaving is totally different from living in the same house, man. Like, it's totally different. Is to really keep the lines of communication open. It's so, you hear it all the time, but it's so important, and I'm still learning to do that. It is so important, man. It is so important. Like, it's unbelievably important, because you don't say things, and you know what I mean? It just gets blocked and misinterpreted and stuff, but it's so very important, man. Even check-ins ever so often,
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with you. And I think communication in general is big, but in this instance, it's even bigger, and it's more impactful. So again, I think it totally makes sense. Again, Rich, I appreciate you doing this and taking the time. Shout out to you and Steph for just coming through. And again, I'm always telling her how inspirational she is, and such a fighter and a warrior. And I look, and I know that there's good days, and I know that there's bad days, but the fact that both of you are still here fighting through this. Is big. So I mean, congratulations and all,
man.
My love and support, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So again, thank you for doing this, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, peace.
Back we are here on this special bonus edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. First off, I got to send a big thanks to Rich for being here. I think your perspective was incredible. Thank you for sharing. Was an important one to share, and more importantly, I think what it does is highlight the journey and anyone living with glioblastoma or any sort of life-threatening disease. How the impacts it has on not only the individual but those around them. So again, thank you so much. When I sort of reflect and think back to on that conversation I had with Rich, I think that the thing that really stands out in my mind is the peace and acceptance that he carries, not only just himself but Steph. I mean, you heard him talk about the first couple years not acknowledging or celebrating Father's Day, and now that they've moved on, and that really shows you that there is a peace and acceptance. And without question, the situation is tough. It's not easy. But when I really truly believe that when you can get to that point where you can accept the reality of your situation, regardless of how tough it is, I think it's at that point where you truly can start to live life and appreciate the moments that you have, appreciate the journey and all that it has to offer. And that prayer of peace continues to be what I have for Rich and Steph and the entire family. I think once you can get to that point, that's when you're truly living life. So congratulations, guys. Continued peace and blessings to you. And again, live life and enjoy. To our listeners, if you haven't subscribed to the Audacious Living Podcast, if you haven't gotten you can subscribe through bestaudaciouslife.com, where you can get email notifications every single time new content comes available. So if you head over to bestaudaciouslife.com, enter your email address, you'll get notifications again every time there's new content that comes out. Thank you for being here again on this special bonus edition of the Audacious Living Podcast. It's so much appreciated. I thank you all our listeners for tuning in, spending some of your day with us here. And again, for our fathers, enjoy it. Enjoy your day. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.